These security barriers in Cyberpunk 2077 have a secret feature. Typically, if you just walk through them, all of the nearby enemies are going to immediately be alerted and come after you. This typically forces you to take a bit of a slower, sneakier route, but what you may have not known is if you just grab an enemy, you can seamlessly walk through the barrier, assuming that enemy actually has clearance for it, and then continue on without having to sneak around nearly as much. A very nice and lesser used feature. And when you are doing some of these sneak gigs, stop wasting your RAM. If you've been investing in technical ability, you can instantly disable cameras with a key press. And this is literally instant, so the second you hit the key, the camera will turn off, making it super easy to just walk up to cameras and turn them off before they finish recognizing you. Although if you do prefer quick hacking, don't forget to lean. Using your scanner from behind cover will make your character lean, and you could stretch this to really lean around corners and scan enemies. And this makes you significantly harder to detect compared to just standing out in the open. As many of you have likely seen at this point, following patch 2.2, a new Balatro-themed scavenger hunt quest was implemented into Cyberpunk 2077. You must go around and find all of these jokers to get your prize. But what you might have not known is that isn't the only secret scavenger hunt quest with a special reward, as we also have Ironclad. You'd find Ironclad in the Petrochem Stadium that was added with Phantom Liberty. He's just past the black market dealer in a shipping container. He'll be this mysterious robot that is malfunctioning, and after the initial interaction where you jack in and try and figure out what is wrong, Ironclad will begin to send you pictures of locations. These containing boxes of software or other robot parts that can help get him back to functionality. The first piece of software is just going to be a short walk away in Petrochem. You'll find it here in this box, and after looting the software, Ironclad will text you and you could report finding a backup power module and transfer that to them. And this begins the hunt. Ironclad explains how the person you're actually interfacing with here seems to be Erwin Kirsch. But Ironclad's audio transcription is currently broken, and thus begins the hunt for the rest of the pieces to help fix Ironclad. I imagine many of you will want to try the scavenger hunt for yourself. All of the locations are right in Petrochem, so it's not that bad. Although if you want solutions, I'll have a link down below. The next text has Erwin basically describing themselves as someone very smart, a presidential fellow, but all doors were slammed in their face, so they had to turn to Kurt Hansen for opportunities. But Erwin assures that Ironclad is going to grow up to be a good boy nonetheless. Kurt Hansen is of course the warlord that runs Dogtown. From the next text, you find out that Erwin was basically raising Ironclad, telling Ironclad that their neural network will develop just like a brain, and with how much cyberware is around in Night City, Ironclad will be worth less than no man. So here, Erwin's basically trying to raise a living robot of his own. Then we get to the stage of Erwin releasing Ironclad into the world and having fears over what Barguest will do to Ironclad. It seems like it was basically commissioned as a fighting robot, but of course Erwin wants a different future for the bot. And then comes the bad side. You can choose to install the next part manually, and after jacking back into Ironclad, several new messages appear. Here we can see that Erwin couldn't let go. He went against protocol and resumed communications with Ironclad, only for Barguest to find out and try to override Ironclad to go out and actually kill Erwin. But Ironclad refuses, and this is what leads to his malfunction state. In the end, Ironclad is left as scrap, and we are left with a choice: wipe his memory, leave him alone, or reprogram the robot. And to reprogram him, it does require a certain level of intelligence. At this point in the quest, the only way forward is to reprogram Ironclad, and then the robot will begin happily playing guitar. But that actually isn't the end. I think a lot of people get stuck at this step, but a few days later, Ironclad will text you once more with a thank you, describing how they are back functional, and Erwin always wanted Ironclad to be an artist, so they randomly picked to be a guitarist, and he does provide one final picture clue. It'll just be on the outside stall for the Petrochem outdoor area, where Ironclad leaves you with a random skill shard and 2,195 eddies. But that isn't the only secret encounter in Cyberpunk 2077, but I also want to help you unlock a secret feature in your life. I'm going to give you the ability to have breakfast, lunch, or dinner in 2 minutes or less. That was today's video sponsor, Factor. I've been using Factor for literal years now, but it really just doesn't get boring. They have 35 meal options to choose from each week, and having your food ready in 2 minutes or less genuinely feels amazing. And now they even have gourmet plus meals. Filet mignon with some broccolini on the side in 2 minutes or less is a pretty awesome way to have lunch, and surf and turf options are coming soon. But the biggest upgrade to me is no more meal prep or planning. I'd get lazy and constantly start eating out because I didn't have any meal options for lunch, but now I just get this big box of of choices delivered right to my front door, and I'm set for weeks at a time. In fact, Factor even has a bunch of snack and smoothie options as well, so even when I'm on the go, they're still keeping me full. And since you watched this video, I'm gonna help you get a deal. Get 50% off and free shipping off your first Factor box by using my link below. Click that link in the description or scan the QR code with your phone. You can also find the Predator. This one's pretty specific, as you must be currently doing the Killing Moon mission. No spoilers here, but this is one of the endgame scenarios for Phantom Liberty, where you're driving to the spaceport with Songbird. As you arrive to the spaceport, don't go in, and instead run to the central section with the larger barriers blocking it. You can easily get over these with double jump, and inside you're going to find some solar panels, but also a wooded area, and as you approach, you can see a cloaked enemy who's going to trigger their mantis blades as you walk up to them, almost like they're displaying their weapons to you. After that, the cloaked enemy will run off over the barricades on the other side, and sadly during this stage of the quest, your weapons are restricted, so you're not able to attack them. And of course, this is all a reference to the Predator, a master hunter who uses cloaking to stalk its prey. And left behind, you could find that very prey. A body with some blood and even some extras can be found nearby. On it are 1,715 eddies, as well as a message to B. Here we are again, just you and me. Same moon, same kind of jungle. Every night I climb up onto the roof to remember. How is it possible we walked out of hell on Earth without a fucking scratch, and only this city, Night fucking City, could separate us for good? If I could, I'd fucking cut your name into that monster skin. Until then, I'll keep coming back here, cause it's only among these trees that I don't feel alone. This of course being a direct reference to the Predator movie, which featured a very similar quote. Basically, a Marine lost his comrade to the Predator and wants revenge. It seems like this tomb had their own run-ins with this monster in Night City, but the Predator came back to finish the job. But if you're looking for something a bit less abstract, Trauma Team also has a couple of secret encounters that I suspect are due to fan feedback of just wanting more Trauma Team content in Cyberpunk. After patch 2.1, this new highway finally opened in Night City. You can find the entrance here on the map. And as many of you probably remember, as you drive down this new segment of highway, you stumble upon a huge battle between Trauma Team and the Tiger Claws. And even if you know about this encounter, you might not know about all of it. This one's pretty unique in that it has not one, but actually two further secrets hidden within that I bet most of you don't know about. You can join the encounter fighting on either side or even just taking out everyone, but after things are wrapped up, you can find a variety of shards on the ground to explain what on earth was going on here. The Tiger Claws basically wanted to gut Trauma Team in order to capture a high-value target, grab every blade you can, and rush that Zeta Tech convoy. Schultz got hit with a ricochet and it pinged Trauma. 2 AVs for now, but there could be backup. Now, one more hair falls from Schultz's head, we need their data intact, so his head's gotta be too. The older brothers need that head as much as we need our own off the chopping block. So Schultz was a VIP target for the Tiger Claws, and it's literally life or death for those Tiger Claws if they don't secure him. And after the fight, you could even find Trauma Team off to the side tending to Schultz. But Trauma Team didn't view him quite as highly. You can find another shard where Trauma Team calls for backup after the attack begins, but it's denied as Schultz only has a gold tier policy, so it does provide a limit of only 2 AVs to protect you. But this is actually Schultz getting a bit scammed. On another shard, you could hear some of the backstory on how this all began. I wish this were all over, that you'd already gotten me there. And for them to extract these damn petabytes of data from my head, I understand, but there's no reason to worry. Logistically, the plan is bulletproof. Yeah, I'm not, and that's what's keeping me up at night. What if a netrunner decrypts the convoy route, sells to the highest bidder? Nothing like that will happen. Did you at least upgrade my trauma package from gold to platinum? Of course. So obviously, that was a lie, and whoever was organizing this extraction of data may have actually wanted Schultz to be taken down here because they didn't upgrade his package, and somehow the Tiger Claws found out about where he was. But it actually doesn't end there. A few days after this encounter, assuming you do help Trauma Team, you'll get a text from Carolina Winter saying, "Hello V, this is Carolina from Trauma Team PXS. On behalf of the entire TT PXX squad, I would like to thank you for what you did for our client. It was thanks to you that he survived that gang assault. Under our care, he's begun his recovery. Your vigilance, involvement, and courage demonstrate the very values we uphold here at Trauma Team. Our mission is to protect those who cannot protect themselves, and now we know that we have an ally in you. Knowing that there are people like you in Night City gives us optimism and confidence for the future, that together we can make our city a safer and better place. Take care of yourself, V, and remember, Trauma Team will always answer the call." So this probably seems confusing to a lot of you, but it's actually a secret reference. All of those Trauma Team members on the highway were named NPCs, specifically named after CDPR's real-life player experience and safety team. Carolina is the associate director of this team. She even has a Trauma Team PXS squad in her Twitter bio. So basically, you're helping out the PXS team at CDPR, and they're sending you this nice little in in-game message to acknowledge that, yeah, the community has been helpful over the development of Cyberpunk 2077. And like I mentioned before, there actually is even more here. If you pass the highest level of trauma drama before completing this encounter, you'll get a secondary PS text. We saw your application for the trauma team internship. If it were up to me, you'd already be suited up with us and flying onto the next client extraction. In reality, you typically are denied for your internship, but this is basically one of the members of trauma team thanking you for helping them and a little nod to another interaction. Overall, a really cool one, but also not the only secret trauma team encounter, because if you go here, the location of the AMOSOWS fight in Pacifica at some point after midnight, you can find a crashed trauma team AV being attacked by some voodoo boys. This one seems to have a secret quest requirement. You must have done something before this to actually get it to trigger, but it's not exactly clear which quest triggers this. And similar to the previous encounter, this one is pretty straightforward. Take out the voodoo boys or trauma team or both, but if you do help trauma team, you'll get the unique outcomes. At the end, you'll be rewarded with some eddies as well as a verbal thank you. And this actually got a secret change in one of the more recent updates. Previously, at least as of October of 2024, if you cleared out all the voodoo boys here with a melee weapon, it would bug the game and stop you from ever getting wanted again. Or even if you did walk up to police, they would just not be able to attack you. It seems like this transfer from the trauma team member was previously bugging out the game, but now in the most recent version of the game, it's been updated with a new transfer that will allow you to get wanted after the fact, so that bug was patched. You probably know Coach Fred in Night City. He assists you with those fist fights, and this training robot is one of the first available fights. But this robot has a secret. They're wanted for distributing medical grade chems, debt evasion, and murder. And from making these videos, something I've noticed is the insane attention to detail from the developers of Cyberpunk 2077, like with Scorpion's Apollo. This is a Badlands used bike that has a longer startup sound compared to other bikes, this likely due to sand getting in the engine.